Drop 151, November 14th, 2017. How do we capture a target? Do we attack from the front? Frontal assault is a failure. We use asymmetric vectors to infiltrate the periphery, neutralizing the target within our controlled ecosystem. Do we signal before attacking? Signaling causes collapse. We maintain permanent ambiguity living off the land so the target remains unaware until the moment of interaction. Who is trusted to keep secrets? We do not trust individuals. We trust isolated, watermarked systems. Any leak is instantly traceable, allowing for immediate containment. How is good distinguished from bad? Morality is a liability. We use utility and alignment. Continuous analysis ensures assets remain consistent with mission objectives. Deviation triggers reassessment. How are leaks and warnings prevented? We control the medium, injecting latency and replacing outgoing messages with fabricated updates, ensuring the enemy feels they are operating normally. Why is Admiral Rogers vital? Why was old source code released? The Admiral is the anchor of institutional memory. Releasing old code burns outdated ecosystems and forces adversaries to patch known holes, blinding them to our silent advanced tools. How are the clowns in America blinded? We flood their systems with synthetic noise. Tailored decoys exhaust their resources, leaving our primary objective invisible. Is the mission secured? Objective secured. Success is achieved by controlling the narrative, leaving the target unaware they were being hunted until they were neutralized. What was Snowden's primary mission? What was Snowden's real primary mission? Was Snowden truly acting on his own? The public was told his mission was to expose surveillance. In reality, nothing is as it appears. He acted as a controlled agent to force the disclosure of legacy architectures, allowing for a strategic reset to implement newer, more opaque systems. He was a catalytic agent within a larger intelligence strategy. What show is being put on by Attorney General Sessions since his confirmation? He has been performing a role of constant friction, generating endless Sessions drama to serve as a deliberate, high-profile distraction for the media. What show is being put on by the President since Attorney General Sessions' confirmation? The President plays along, creating a constant state of performative tension. This noise acts as the fog that hides the true, systemic objectives moving forward in the background. Why was Attorney General Sessions' confirmation challenged heavily? He was positioned specifically as a lightning rod. By attracting intense, performative opposition, his confirmation process exhausted the political capital of his detractors on personal and historical debates, rather than on the real structural shifts occurring within the Department of Justice. Why was Rod Rosenstein's confirmation smooth and easy? What was the vote count for Rod Rosenstein? He was confirmed easily because he was the necessary technocrat, the reliable engine required to maintain institutional continuity and ensure the status quo remained untouched. He was confirmed by the Senate with a vote of 94-6. Why did Sessions recuse himself? Why is this relevant? His recusal was a tactical necessity. It was a controlled move to trigger the appointment of a special counsel, which effectively outsourced the investigation into a contained and insulated structure. This is relevant because it created the necessary legal and operational distance to manage the investigation's scope, duration, and final findings, transforming a potential vulnerability into a perfectly managed process. How do you capture a very dangerous animal? In this strategic theater, you don't hunt the creature. You build a cage that it walks into willingly. You capture a network-based threat through total informational containment. By isolating its communication nodes, you neutralize its ability to act before it even realizes it is being surrounded. Who is best to conduct the attack? An insulated strategic intelligence unit is the only choice. You cannot use standard bureaucratic channels because they are compromised by the very influence you are trying to excise. You need an entity that operates outside of conventional oversight to maintain operational security. What is the one force necessary to retain control? Leverage. Specifically, asymmetrical information. Control is maintained by holding the high ground of intelligence. When you possess verified, unassailable evidence of the opposition's next 3 moves, you render their force obsolete. Why does the US military play such a vital role in this global game of risk? The military is the backbone of the physical and digital infrastructure that defines this game. Without the military, the global structure collapses into chaos. They are the only force capable of securing the critical nodes of global communication and finance, ensuring that the rules of the board are enforced according to the mandate of sovereignty. What is money without power? It is merely a ghost currency, existing only in numbers without the backing of real-world authority. Money has zero value if you cannot enforce the laws, borders, and systems that give it utility. Power is the ability to define the ledger, not just participate in it. Why did POTUS depart Manila 30 minutes ahead of schedule? It was a deliberate act of tactical displacement. By breaking a predictable schedule, leadership forces every observer to scramble and reveal their monitoring assets. Never follow the itinerary. Follow the operational necessity. Why is AF-1 landing in Hawaii? Hawaii serves as an isolated, secure command node in the Pacific. By landing in a location distant from the standard political centers, you achieve the physical and electronic isolation required for high-level continuity planning. It is about removing the target from the noise. Does AF-1 have in-air refueling ability? Yes. The VC-25A is equipped for in-flight refueling. This capability grants the aircraft a virtually unlimited range, ensuring that the primary node of command never stops moving and is never tethered to a vulnerable ground location. Nothing is as it appears. Exactly. What the public sees as standard diplomacy or political travel is simply the top layer of the screen. Beneath it, the real operation is moving at a different tempo, re-architecting the world while the rest of the board is still playing by old rules. The vote. What was the actual breakdown between Trump and Clinton in the district back in 2016? Well, the reality is that DC was heavily in favor of Clinton, who received 90.5% of the vote, while Trump received 4.1%. You might wonder how Trump won despite this. The answer is the Electoral College. He didn't need the DC vote. He secured victory by winning key battleground states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, accumulating the 270 electoral votes required to win. The nickname. People often ask, what is the common nickname for DC? It is frequently called the District, and sometimes referred to as the DMV when describing the broader region. Historically, it has also been known as the City of Magnificent Distances because of its original layout, and more recently, Chocolate City, as a nod to its cultural history. The secret indictment. Why would a sealed indictment be issued outside of DC jurisdiction, for example in the Southern District of New York? It happens because the jurisdiction is determined by where the alleged crime occurred. The purpose of keeping these documents sealed is to maintain the element of surprise and ensure the integrity of the investigation before an arrest is made. Rapid appointments. Why are judicial appointments sometimes completed in such a rapid flurry of activity? This occurs to cement a specific legal philosophy within the federal courts, as these are lifetime appointments that shape the law for decades. Who do you trust? Who can you truly trust? Trust is conditional and must be earned through evidence and transparency. My advice is to always focus on verifiable facts rather than assumptions. Pretending. Why do I warn about pretending? Because speculation can be seductive, but the truth and established facts always lie in rigorous verification and hard work. God bless patriots. Stay the course.